Okay, we're live. We've started, and here we go.
Final talk. Final talk. Final talk with Tavis. With
Hey, everybody, how are you doing? First of all, everybody, with me today, this is a very spontaneous, just fantastic time I'm about to have with this gentleman. If you don't know who he is, let me tell you who he is. First of all, he's a dear friend. I've known him for, I would say 15,
At
20
least.
years. Yeah.
20 actually.
20 years when I first moved to Tulsa. This person is Mr. Chuck Cissel, everyone. Well, let's just, I'm gonna add a little applause. Yeah. Well, someone must see you on the live. Okay.
That was my niece calling me.
Well, tell her to join this live.
Oh, I should have.
Yeah. Well, Chuck, of course, people don't know that I'm doing this, so they're going to be very surprised.
I see she's gonna.
Okay, go ahead and talk to her. It's fine.
I'm doing an interview with Tavis Minner over the internet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yes, but you can join. Where does she join, Tavis?
Well, she can just find my channel, Vinyl Talk with Tavis.
Vinyl Talk with Tavis on YouTube.
Oh, okay. I was just trying to get a quick name real quick. Researching. I could see what was the name of the museum that you took us to when we were in New York with Courtney with Mom, where they had the club.
In Harlem.
No, we were down. I thought it was downtown, where you took us, where y'all took pictures in front of like Billy Howard.
Oh, the Blue Note.
Oh, the Blue Note. What's the name of the jazz of that museum?
Well, that wasn't the museum, but you know they have pictures in there. But the Blue Note, that museum, I'm not quite sure. We'll have to talk about that.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I'll call you back.
Okay.
All right, baby.
Love you.
Bye-bye. Love you too.
Well, all right. Hey, spontaneity. It's all right.
Yes, c'est la vie.
Yes, show business. Oh, my heavens. Well, everyone, again, this is Mr. Chuck Cissel. And the reason why I brought this wonderful person on, this wonderful young man, is because he is a recording artist in the, was it 78, Chuck? Was it in the late 70s?
79.
79. He did an album. In fact, you did 2 albums with Arista Records, correct?
That's correct.
And I have, so you know, this is Vinyl Talk with Tavis, and I talk about my vinyl collection.
Right.
And my channel has seemed to have really grown. It has like over, well, close to 4,000 subscribers.
That's fantastic.
And they just like to hear folks talk about vinyl records.
Yeah.
And so yes. What's that?
It's a great subject.
What's that?
It's a great subject.
It is. Vinyl has really come back, Chuck.
Yes.
You know, and behind me, I have a lot of pictures of my artists that I love. And so I started collecting vinyl probably 3 years ago once again. And I looked on YouTube to figure out how to clean records. And I saw that people were talking about vinyl. And I'm like, well, I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started this little channel, and it like 100 people, then 500 people, then 1,000. I'm like, people are actually watching me, and they love to hear me talk about the records I'm collecting. And it's a big community. But I don't see too many African Americans, so I guess maybe that says something.
Well, that's probably part of your success.
Yeah.
4,000 subscribers.
Yes.
You're bringing something to the table that they're wanting to have.
Absolutely.
That's great.
So this man here, Mr. Chuck Cissel, he worked with Arista Records, everyone. And this is is this your first album?
That was my debut album. Not my first recording, however.
Okay. What was your first recording, Chuck?
When I was in a chorus line on Broadway, Michael Bennett, the director, the choreographer, he did everything in the chorus line.
Yeah.
And there was a drummer by the name of Bobby Thomas, a great drummer who also was a great jazz drummer. And he had written a song called Swept Away.
Yeah.
And Michael and Bobby, BT, as they called him, approached me in my dressing room one night and said, "Hey, we've got this song and we want to produce it, but we want you to sing it." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I went up to Michael's penthouse and he had all of these executives from MCA Records. I don't know who Harold Wheeler is, but Harold Wheeler is a pianist, arranger, did a lot of Broadway shows, and he also was a director of the music for American Idol, Dancing with the Stars. He's great. I mean, he's just fantastic. He was playing. He was there to play the piano that night. So when I walked up and walked into the house, they asked me to sing. So I sang "Memories," the way we were.
Wow.
And they said, "Okay, well, let's get it done. Let's go to the studio." So we went to the studios and cut this record. And I'll tell you where you can find it after we get through.
Absolutely.
It's on the internet.
Okay. Well, so as we're doing this, I have people who are chatting with us. And this is my aunt, Rita Minner. Rita, Aunt Rita, she said, "I've started back collecting more vinyl." She was the first person that I remember having so many vinyl records when I was in my pre-teens. So, Auntie, I'm so glad to see you. Thank you for watching. Wow.
Me too.
That's awesome. Okay, so everyone, I don't even know where to begin. This is so spontaneous, but we're going to start from here for a second. This album, it says, featuring the full-length disco mix of the smash hit, Sizzling Hot. Now, if you all have not heard, Auntie Rita, DJ Funk, do you have this man's... Listen, if you don't have this record, you are missing out. And this man wrote the song, and when I played it on my turntable, I have this wonderful turntable, and the speakers just lit up.
Yeah.
So, Chuck, how did you come up with that riff? What inspired you for this?
Well, you know, it's funny. It was a Sunday afternoon after church, and me and my friend had gone over to one of a church member's house to eat dinner.
Yes.
And on our way leaving her home, we were in the car, and my friend said, "Man, this album is going to be so hot." I said, "Sizzling hot, baby." And right then and there, I went into the doom, 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 doom. Started writing the song right there in the car as we driving back.
Wow.
Got to my house, pulled out a cassette player, and just I stayed right with it till I figured the whole thing out. The only thing I didn't have was a bridge, but I did the bridge a little bit later on.
Yeah.
I went to my friend's house who was blind. His name is Clarence Williams.
Okay.
No, not Clarence Williams. Clarence Williams.
Okay.
And went over to his house, and he was a great, great pianist. And so I told him and showed him what I wanted to hear, and he mapped it out musically on the piano.
Okay.
And I wrote the lyrics, and I created the bridge there that day. And then I took it to the studio a couple of days later and gave it to Skip Scarborough.
See, stop. Okay. He just dropped the name, y'all. Skip
Scarborough. The
My
great Skip Scarborough.
Yes.
Great songwriter, great producer, great man, really. I love him.
So he was cool to work with.
Oh, very, very cool.
Okay.
Very, very sweet man. Just perfect for my personality.
Okay.
Just man, we became family. His whole family became my family.
Wow.
His wife, grandmother, everybody, they were my family because I didn't have any family in Los Angeles. I just went out there on a plane ride.
Okay, we got to get there. Yep. Keep going, Chuck. Go ahead. This is fun.
Gave it to Skip, and Skip said, "Well, we should bring David N. Crawford on this because David co-produced the album, some of the album with David, with Skip." So David, well, let me take it. Let me run with it. So David was young, was about my age at the time. So he had that same youthful energy. And we kind of collaborated and came up with it. And man, once we brought it back to the studio for Skip was like, Oh my gosh, man, y'all are really, and we laid it out, got all the right musicians, and
Wow. I'm trying to see how I can share. I want to see if I can actually, if you don't mind, I want to get the song on here, but I don't know how to do it.
I can play it on my computer.
Okay. Okay. Can you play Sizzling Hot?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone, this is Chuck Cissel, everyone, and he is the writer of the song Sizzling Hot. DJ Funk, yes, that's my auntie. That's my dad's sister, Miss Rita Minner, and she is a vinyl collector. And we're going to hear a little bit of Sizzling Hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's on Spotify. You can stream it.
I'll get into it.
Okay. There it is. There you go. Yes. Hello, Charles.
When you think you got me hot and I'm acting like I'm not, I'm sizzling.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby.
Yes.
Time I'm next to you, my body heat flows up to you. I'm sizzling. Ooh, oh, baby. Blow your mind.
Hey.
Ooh, you're driving me crazy. You give me fever all the time.
Yo, fuck. You still got it. Woo. It is a disco feel. DJ Funk says that's still the jam.
It was
Oh,
tail end of disco because Anita Ward came
yes.
out with Ring My Bell, Ring My Bell. And she had some of those same things. Boo boo, boo boo. She had
Absolutely.
those. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let me tell you how our history began, everyone. I moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1997. This was right after college. And I was teaching music at Sam Houston Elementary School. And my reputation preceded me as I was singing in college and all that. And so I joined up with one of Tulsa's great pianists, Rick Fortner, and we performed in different venues. And I think he invited me to do something with him. What happened every year, Chuck? The jazz.
Which one? Juneteenth, or was it the gala? Or was
it was something
series, the concert series.
There was something that would happen every year that was like outside.
That's Juneteenth.
Okay. Well, we did something together that happened every year. Yes. And then I think you saw us.
Yes.
And you asked us to perform at the Oklahoma Jazz Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Which is what we're going to get to eventually.
Yes.
And then we met and we talked and we've been friends and acquaintances ever since. And I've always known of him. And okay, Rita, Auntie, she says, where can I, she said, I've got to talk to my people. Where can I buy this album?
You can get it on Amazon.
Yeah, you have to go to, I found this particular physical album on Discogs. And so this was like, I think it came from another country. Can you believe that, Chuck?
I can.
I think I got it from Germany.
And oddly enough that you would say that, they're still playing this record in Germany, in Japan, all over Asia. It's just this thing is like 40 years old.
Wow. See how music can just remain?
It lives, it breathes.
It lives. And so when I hear it, oh man, that's a beautiful, beautiful cut. The whole album is just worthy. So let's get to DJ Funk says you can get it on eBay. That's right. They are auctioning it on eBay and selling it as well.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chuck Cissel, where were you born?
I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and born in the Black Hospital, Moton Hospital,
Hmm.
and grew up in a musical home. We had a piano. My sister Maxine, who recently passed,
Okay.
she played the piano. My mother was an extraordinary singer. She was more an operatic singer, and my dad was a great dancer. So this little boy called Chucky, he sort of took on both of their talents, the singing and the dancing. And then in our home, when we would have people over, they would say, "Okay, Chucky, get up and sing something, baby. Get up and dance, baby." They put the music on and say, "Dance, baby." So I did that. So this performance thing was in my blood from a little bitty boy, and it just carried through right till now, really.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and let me go ahead and if I can, just say that because this is Women's History Month, this is March, and we celebrate all women.
Yeah.
Fine, Chuck, I want to take a little time to celebrate your sister,
Yes.
Maxine Horner. Is it Maxine Cissel Horner, or am I saying it correctly?
Correct. Maxine Cissel Horner. Yes.
She's the sister of Chuck, and she was the first Black
Senator.
senator for Oklahoma, or for the whole for
No,
Oklahoma?
Oklahoma. She was a state senator. There was another woman, I can't think of her name, but they were both elected and sworn in at the same time.
Okay. And so she recently passed, his beautiful sister, and I knew her very well as well, and she was very supportive of my endeavors, and we just celebrate her at this time.
Yeah.
So how many sisters and brothers do you have, Chuck?
Well, there were four of us. My sister Maxine, my sister Beverly Ann,
Okay.
and my brother Earl Cissel Jr., who we call Sonny, and then there was me, and we're all spaced about quite a bit away from each other.
Okay.
I'm the last one of them. My sister was 17 years old when I was born.
Woo, that's a big span of time. So that's why you're so strange. I know. Yeah. We love you anyway. Yeah. We love you. So Chuck, what high school did you go to?
Right here in Tulsa, Booker T. Washington High School. We all went to Booker T. All the Cissels went to Booker T.
And Booker T, if y'all don't know it by now, that's the place to be.
Booker T. Washington High School
in Tulsa. If you don't go there, you're square.
Pride of the Great Southwest.
Amen. I believe it. And so you said the entertaining blood was in you.
Yes.
So did you find your niche or your club or your clan in high school? Did you have other people who loved to perform as well?
Oh, yes, but it began long before high school, in elementary school.
Okay.
And there was a lady by the name of Alice B. Williams, who was a music teacher. She pulled me aside and told me, "You have a lovely voice, and we need to feature you in some of these things here at school. Can you sing solo?" So she had me singing solos when I was like 7 and 8 years old. And then they did school plays, and they always made me a part of the school play where I got to sing songs. This is 9 and 10, 11 years old.
Hey,
then when I went to high school, you probably had a similar story. When I went to junior high school, it was the same thing there, that because those were feeder schools. So they fed you from elementary into junior high school and into high school. And those teachers were connected. So they knew about me when I went to junior high school, and they kept me up with the solos and performing and emceeing the shows. And right into high school, same story. Right into OU, the same story there as well. It just continued. It continued. Never stopped.
A chain.
Just never stopped. Yeah.
Okay. And so in high school, so your elementary school, you're performing. Of course, you're a very smart, intelligent child. And you're around all these wonderful people in Tulsa with your family and abroad. Then did you go to college, Chuck?
University of Oklahoma.
Okay. And so what did you study there? I didn't know this. My God.
Yeah, I was a theater major.
Okay.
My goal was to go on Broadway. But while I was in college, I was in the men's glee club, and Dr. Mathis decided to pull me out of all those guys, and there were some fantastic voices. Many of them were opera students and students who were studying music. I wasn't studying music. I was studying theater and dance.
Okay.
Had me sing a solo, and it was a nobody hear you pray. I can't think. Oh God.
Is it a spiritual?
Spiritual, yes. And there's an album, and I'm trying to find this album because it's on the album.
Okay.
It was 1968.
Wow.
And so I'm trying to find it, but Dr. Mathis was instrumental.
Mm-hmm.
Ellen Gregory in the dance department was instrumental. Many people, Jack Harrell, who was from Broadway, came to teach us for a year and a half. So I fell in love with him. He fell in love with me, and he said, "You should go to New York City. You should be on Broadway."
Wow.
I cannot leave school, but he said, "You can do summer stock." So I went to audition for summer stock my junior year, and a whole bunch of singers and dancers went, and I was the only person chosen.
Wow.
And they couldn't believe it, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, but Tavis, I do believe this, and I'm going to say this from my heart.
Go ahead.
I believe that it was my destiny. It was God's plan. It was the prayers of my mother.
Okay.
And it was walking by faith and not by sight.
Yes.
Leaving those things which be not as though they were.
But yes, believing in those things. Yes.
And bring
it down.
that here, right to me. And every kind of step along the way, I felt God's presence. I felt His hand on me. And just doors opened.
Well, Chuck, I have two questions here from our viewers.
Yes.
Did you know the Wilson brothers of Charlie?
We grew up together. We sang together.
Oh my God. Okay. Did y'all just learn something? DJ Funk, he's like, what? Yes.
Yes. Ronnie was my classmate and my very, very dear friend.
From where?
Booker T, Carver.
He went to Booker T and Carver.
Yes. All of them did.
Ciao.
Yeah.
And then my auntie Rita, all of my relatives, my dad's sisters and brothers went to Langston University. Do you have any friends that attended Langston?
My whole family went to Langston University, except me.
Rita, did you hear that, Auntie Rita? Wow.
Everybody would. She may know Butch and Barbara Burton.
Okay, Auntie, did you hear that? Butch and Barbara Burton. She'll respond. Now, who are those people, Chuck?
Those are my first cousins, and they're musicians as well. They've sung all over Oklahoma and even further than Oklahoma, but they have established themselves in Oklahoma City.
My heavens. So
they have an extraordinary band, jazz band. So
everyone, this is unsung Chuck Cissel version. We're getting it first. Just this man needs to be interviewed. You need to have your unsung. Let me stop for a moment and give a little plug. I did a wonderful interview with Shirley Jones of the Jones Girls.
Yes.
I just happened to get that wonderful interview, and she has an unsung series coming up on, is it TV One?
Yes.
Yeah. She's having, her and her sisters are finally getting their credit.
Yeah.
Unsung, wonderful. It's going to be a great show. So Chuck, you need to get that. I'm gonna vouch and get that. I'm gonna sell you.
Well, I tell you one thing. The Jones Girls worked with Diana Ross, and they were her background singers.
But he knows.
And I followed them because I was Diana Ross's background singer too.
Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
When?
The years had to be like 1990 when she did the Take Me Higher tour. I toured with Take Me Higher. Yeah. I did that with her.
Well, that's pretty modern though. That's pretty.
Yeah, that's not too long ago. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so now you're in college and you're studying music theater.
Mm-hmm.
Did you graduate with your degree?
Uh-huh.
And then what led you? This man he's performed on Broadway, everyone. What led you to Broadway?
Well, see, it goes back to OU because while I was there, I performed in many of the productions as it was, whether it was a play or whether Thank you, somebody, Uncle D. Thank you.
Yes.
Whether it was a play,
they love you. They love you.
oh, thank you. Whether it was a play or a musical or a dance concert or an opera, I was in it because I told them I needed to learn all of this. I want all of this. Please help me because I want to be on Broadway. Everybody knew I wanted to be on Broadway, but so did everybody else. Everybody wanted to be on Broadway.
You're right.
And we had different people coming into the school to do musicals, plays, and we even had the Joffrey Ballet. And I have to tell you a quick story about that. But that experience led to summer stock. And my last year in summer stock, I went to Casa Manana Theater in the Round in Fort Worth, Texas. The year before, I was hired at Kansas City Starlight Theater. So when I went to Casa, there was a young lady by the name of Betty Buckley. You may have heard of her. She sang Memories in the original Cats and won the Tony Award for that. She was a tremendous singer. Yes. And we did the last show together. We both starred in the last show of the season in summer stock. They even promoted me to do a lead role while I was still in college for summer stock.
Now, Chuck, what is summer stock for those who don't really know? How would you describe that?
Summer stock is providing professional theater for audiences in certain cities. Dallas has a huge audience for summer stock theater, and they would bring in Broadway stars to do the leads, and they would hire chorus kids, chorus singers, chorus dancers. Some of the smaller roles, we got to do those roles.
Okay.
Always has a star. I work with Ozzie and Harriet Nelson. Can you believe that?
Okay. I'm planning out.
We did State Fair. Our State Fair is a great state fair. Don't miss it or even be late. With Ozzie and Harriet Nelson. Then I worked with Sid Charisse. When Sid Charisse walked into the room, it was like Hollywood for real.
Oh, wow.
The body was unreal. And she was 80 years old. No, she wasn't that old. She had to be like 68 or something. But she looked fantastic. And we did a show with her, and she was damn Yankee. She was great. Wow. So anyway, with Betty, the last show, we did that together. And she said, why don't you just come to New York now? Just come on to New York. I said, well, I need to go see my mother and my family. And she said, well, okay. And then I called my mama and said, Mama, I'm not coming home. I'm going to go straight to New York. She was like, what? I said, yeah, Daddy is saying I should go now because I could get work immediately. And I went to New York. Pearl Bailey saw me.
Wait a minute. Did you? Okay. People watching. Pearl Bailey. Speaking of Women's History Month, who is Pearl Bailey, Chuck?
Oh my God, one of the great entertainers of all time. A great vaudevillian who did the Chitlin circuit, and she can talk to you about all of that. She went through the Hard Knock School. So when you work with Pearl Bailey, there was no BS, baby.
Okay.
You came to that stage, you came to work. And she would be in the wings, and she would make notes and say, baby, you missed it. You weren't on it. And make sure and you know, Pearl Bailey was, now, child, you know, honey, we're not going to do that. That's how she talks. And she was a splendid, splendid woman, Tavis. I fell in love with Pearl Bailey. I loved her madly. I really did.
A great mentor for you?
Great mentor. And the funny little thing that she did when she comes down the steps in Hello Dolly, she says, hello, Louie. Well, hello, Bobby. It's so nice to be back here where I belong. Well, hello, Dimples. And I was Dimples. First time she did that, I was like, oh my God, this woman just called me out on stage. But she did it every night.
Right.
Called me out, and she told me, you have the smile of truth. You just keep being who you are.
The smile of truth.
Smile. I have a picture with it on it. The smile of truth. That's why I love her madly. I can get emotional about Pearl Bailey. I'm not going to do it, but she was wonderful. And Calloway was also.
You knew him?
Well, he was in the show. Calloway.
This is all spontaneous, people. This is all spontaneous. I've known this guy for 20 years. Didn't know all of this history.
Oh, there's so much more.
Look at my aunt. Look at my aunt. She says, love it. Y'all don't understand. And I knew this man, but I knew him in a different capacity. Now we're older, and it's just relaxed time, if you will.
Yeah.
So you knew Cab Calloway because he was in the show.
Yeah, he was Mr. Vandergelder. If you ever saw Barbara Streisand and Hello Dolly, Pearl Bailey did the Barbara Streisand role.
Yeah.
And Walter Matthau did the Cab Calloway role.
Oh my. Are you all familiar with, I wonder if there's any video footage of you in that.
You know, back then,
Yeah. There wasn't no iPhones around back
there were no iPhones, there were no video cameras, there was nothing but a live performance.
That's right. People could focus.
Yeah, it's just, and even when we did the chorus line, there's only one clip, and I don't know how they got it, but they did, and I'm in that.
So you did the chorus line as well.
Yeah, I did several Broadway shows. I did Hello Dolly with Pearl Bailey, Purlie with Melvin Moore and Cleavon Little, who is from Oklahoma.
Wow.
I did Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope. And I did Lost in the Stars with Brock Peters, who was always someone I admired and respected because of To Kill a Mockingbird.
Right.
Black star in that.
Right.
So I worked with him, and there was a young man by the name of Gilbert Price who won a Tony Award for singing one song. He was only on there for like 2 minutes in the roar of the grease paint smell of the crowd, and he sang, "Birds flying high, you know how I feel," a cappella, and he was an operatic star. And
wow. Now, who made that popular again?
Gilbert Price. Look him up.
What's the name?
Gilbert Price.
Gilbert Price. You all look that up. Let me know that you found it if you have. My heavens. So much great history tonight.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful person. Great star. Then I did a chorus line, and then I did with Ruth Brown, we did Sweet Saturday Night.
Okay.
So, and I did a number of commercials. I don't know if you remember the Coca-Cola commercial.
There's so many Coke commercials, Chuck.
Well, there's Coke adds life to everything that makes your living nice.
Okay, no, I'm not
I remember, but I could show you. Do I have a picture in here? No, it's downstairs. But yeah, lots of commercials.
It may be on YouTube. Look,
It is.
May be on YouTube.
People have put it on Facebook and said, "Hey, that's you, right?" I was like, "Yeah."
So Chuck, you used to kick your leg up really high, huh?
Really high.
Oh,
They're called 6 o'clock kicks.
oh, that's
when the leg is right by your head.
Lord have mercy.
Your leg comes right here.
Now, Chuck, what was it? Hard work? I mean, that's hard work doing shows. I was in shows in college, and man, we practiced some sunset to sundown to get a 40-minute show together.
Yeah, that's what you did. We did that 8 hours a day for 3 months to put the show together, and then they're changing the show and altering the show all at the same time, and you have to come on stage. You sung something last night. Tonight you're going to sing a different song, and you have to have it memorized, and you have to act it out. So you have to really, really be on point.
Wow.
It's a discipline. You're trained to do that. That's what you do.
That's right. Yeah. And so then, so you have all this wonderful theatric experience, and what led you to go into making records, Chuck?
In a chorus line, Michael Bennett came to me one night sitting at my dressing table and said, "Bobby Thomas has written this song, and we both decided that we would like you to sing it, but they need to hear your voice. MCA Records needs to hear your voice. So I want you to come up to my house tonight after the show and sing for them." Wow. So I went up to his penthouse, and Harold Wheeler was at the piano, and I sang "Memories." That's a Barbra Streisand song.
From the corners of my mind.
Five or six bars. I said, "Okay, fine, let's do it."
Okay.
So a couple of days later, probably the weekend, it all happened really, really quickly. I was in the studio and I was learning BT's song, and then they brought in all the best background singers in New York. And I said, "Oh my God, these people are gonna background for me?"
Let me see. Hold on. Let me see, because we can see. I gotta take my glasses off. Hold on, let me see. Okay. Now on Sizzling Hot, the background, but it just says it's just Chuck and Skip Scarborough. But I hear ladies.
No, their names, look down below. You'll see background singers, and they'll be in there somewhere.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Like Maxine, Shari, Beverly Miller.
No, those are my family members.
Oh my heavens. Okay.
No, you'll see. I don't have that. I started to pull that thing up here.
Well, it just has. Okay. The Right Connection, Mike and Diane Wright, Vanetta Fields.
Yes.
Sherry Payne.
Yes.
Not that name is familiar.
That's Frida Payne's sister. Sherry Payne was a Supreme.
Oh my God!
You can sing her behind.
Go ahead.
You can sing.
Wow.
Sing.
That heifer can sing. Sherry Payne. Sherry Payne, which is okay. Everyone, this is history. Sherry Payne is the sister of whom, Chuck?
Frida Payne.
Frida Payne. Yes, band. I think I had that record. So I should have had that. Woo, Chuck.
You should try to get her. You should try to get Sherry Payne. Because she can
Wow.
tell you all about the Supremes, Diana Ross,
Rest in peace, Miss Mary Wilson.
all of it. Mary Wilson, all of it. She can tell you all of it.
Well, DJ Funk has just said Chuck was always dressed sharp on his album covers. Chuck, what inspired you to dress so beautifully here? You just did they make you dress like this, or did you say, "Hey,
No, they gave me a budget, and I went shopping, and I bought what I wanted to wear. And there's some other things that I did, but I've always been. My mother was a seamstress, and my father was a tailor, so they made most of my clothes when I was in junior high school, even in elementary school, but junior high school. And high school, I wore things that nobody else wore because I asked them to make this for me and make that for me, and they did.
So you had it in your head already what you wanted to wear.
Well, and my father was a tailor, so he had tailored suits. That's all he wore, and he wore the brims. And if you see on my album, I have a hat on my head.
Yeah, that's the second album you did. What's that called, Chuck? I don't have that yet.
I had the chance.
Okay.
But if you look at the logo on this album you have here,
yeah,
my glasses and a hat.
Well, right here, is it on the? Right here, it's just that.
No, look on the sheet that you just had in your hand.
Well, look, it's just words, Chuck.
Look closely.
Okay, let me see.
A hat with glasses.
Oh, look, y'all, he knows his shite. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
I wore hats too. That's per my father.
Oh, hold on. I want them to see it. Oh, there it is.
Yes, see?
Oh. And the glasses.
I wore big glasses. Look at the cover and you'll see them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They are big. I was wondering. I said, dang, Chuck. That was a style back then, was it?
Very Elton John-ish. And Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder wore to me.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So when you first released this album, how was your family? How did they receive it? Were they very happy that you went to?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were happy. Anything that I did, they were happy about it.
Wow.
They were happy about it. And my mother especially, she really loved a lot of the music on that first album. And she didn't get to hear the second album. She took her wings and but she did hear the first one and really enjoyed it. And I did a concert at Tulsa at the Hornet Stadium with the Gap Band and the SOS Band.
Jesus. Let me calm myself. Y'all, okay, I'm just too hyped. Let me calm myself, Chuck. Oh, my God. I just feel the spirit of the Lord up in here. Mm-hmm. Okay, so.
Is the Lord.
Yeah, so Chuck, so hold on. Now, when you first released this record, did you realize that it was going to be a success as it was? Did you know that?
You know, the thing is, when the Sizzling Hot came out, they started playing it in LA on KAKC, KJLH. There was another. Stevie Wonder owns KJLH, so we had lots of rotation. And the disc jockeys liked me right off the bat when I met them. I was from New York. They were like, "Oh, New York is in town. All right." So we played along with that really well, and having a Broadway history, people were really interested in.
Okay.
How'd you get on Broadway? So there was a lot of interest about it. So they liked the music and they liked me, and they liked Skip Scarborough.
Right.
Scarborough did Earth, Wind and Fire, Jeffrey Osborne. That's why I chose him. Because when I heard Love Ballad, I was like, it's over.
Right.
I want that guy.
LTD Love Ballad.
Yeah. And so Skip is just, he was a wonderful, wonderful person. Really, really was.
DJ Funk, who's a good friend of mine in the vinyl community, he says he is sharp on the second album too. I have them both. I'm a fan. DJ Funk, can you believe that we have Chuck Cissel? And I've known this man for over 20 years. And we're just now getting into his deep history.
And you didn't know. We didn't talk.
Didn't know. We didn't talk in this vein. We just knew each other from
the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame. And we're going to get to that. So you did Just For You. And did you have a contract in order to do another album with Arista?
Well, I had a 5-year contract period.
Okay.
So we planned to do 2 albums.
Okay.
And that's what we did.
Right.
And the second album was produced by Benjamin Wright. And Benjamin Wright had just come off his success with working with Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson's huge Don't Stop Till You Get Enough album.
From Off the Wall. Yeah. Yes.
He did a lot of that stuff for him. And
wow.
This guy, Benjamin Wright, is brilliant. I mean, he did the Silvers.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he was a brilliant, he's still alive. I just saw, a picture of him on Facebook the other day, and I thought, I need to contact him.
Right, yes.
Wonderful, wonderful person. I met so many wonderful people and became close friends with Earth, Wind, and Fire, Philip Bailey and Ralph Johnson, Verdine.
Maurice White.
They were good friends, yeah, because 3 of us went to church together. So we saw each other every Sunday.
Yes.
And, Ricky Heath from Brothers Johnson. They were the Temptations. So many. I mean, Denise Williams. I'll never forget her because when I was in Skip's rehearsal, she came in the house and all I had seen of her was Free.
Yeah.
I just wanna be free. Then she did this duet with Johnny Mathis, Too Little Too Late, but she just went off.
Too little too late to ever try again. Look at this. Wow, I'm excited. Thank you, Tavis. People are loving you, Chuck. They love it. I knew they loved it.
True. And then I brought her here for Juneteenth.
What year was that, Chuck? What year was that?
Oh, gosh, it had to be like 2005.
Okay. Now,
2005.
because when she done her gospel albums, she was still successful. So glad
yeah. We did a gospel show together called Jesus at the Roxy. The Roxy Theater is a theater on Sunset Boulevard that everybody plays. And we did Jesus at the Roxy at the Roxy. So it was Philip Bailey, myself, Niecy, Ralph, the Earth, Wind, and Fire crew.
I think she's spoken about that, Chuck.
Rita Wright, that's the girl who married Stevie Wonder, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, she sang like a bell.
Did Valerie Simpson, Ashford, were they a part?
No, they were on the East Coast.
Okay.
So, but it was a extra. Leon Patillo, he's a Christian
gospel
artist.
singer. Yeah, yes.
It was all of those people became my extended family. We were all in this together.
That's awesome.
They welcomed me and I was just in the mix. And my church was Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church with Pastor E.V. Hill. And he was a huge pastor out there in LA. And a lot of the musicians that I chose for the album came right out of that church band.
Wow. Because you knew them straight up.
I knew who they were and I knew what they could do.
And that's right. And you wouldn't take nothing less than the best.
and the thing about Skip that I love, I know he had this group of people that he worked with. I said, but do you mind if I choose some of these people because I've been around them. I love the energy. I love their spirits. Mm-hmm. And this is a spiritual moment for me. And I'm telling you, Skip came to the Lord behind that first album with me.
Are you serious? Yeah. He came to Jesus, huh?
On this album, yes, sir. And his family behind him.
Chuck, were you ever, let's see, we have a question here. Chuck, were you ever in a group or just a solo artist? Good question.
I had a group in New York City prior to leaving New York City called New Concept and Sound. And I had a band and I had 2 other singers. There were 3 of us. Wow. And we sang in the tri-state area there. And all of that preparation, I think, helped me when I went to Los Angeles. But I almost had a recording contract in New York City at Atlantic Records because my goal was to sing with Roberta Flack. And just as I was trying to do that, Roberta Flack recorded with Donny Hathaway.
You heard it first. This is unsung.
Oh, yeah.
Unsung with Chuck Cissel.
So amazing. I just missed her by this. But I have a picture downstairs with me and Roberta as well. We were hanging out over George Faison's house on the Upper West Side. Yeah.
So did you know Donny Hathaway as well?
I never I saw him live, but I couldn't get to meet him. They wouldn't let us backstage. But I saw him live, and I was a phenomenal talent. He's my favorite male singer outside of Nat King Cole. But the thing about Donny Hathaway that blew my mind was I was in New York City when they say he jumped out of the window at the Essex Hotel. And you're talking about a hush fell over Jerusalem. That's what happened to all of New York City. It just went,
wow.
Donny, what? It just blew out his mind. We were just in a stupor for like days. We couldn't believe it, that man committed suicide. And everybody loved Donny Hathaway.
And still his music is so, there's a spirituality to it that you just can't.
Absolutely.
You can't duplicate.
You can't. And the voice, there's a certain timbre of his voice.
Yes.
And he had such control too.
I wonder how old was he when he passed, Chuck?
Oh, it had to be at somewhere in the 40s. But he was a mental patient. He'd been in mental patients.
Yeah, I think I've heard Quincy Jones even talk about that in an interview as well.
He was a
schizophrenia?
Something like that. Yeah, I can't recall.
I don't want to put it in the atmosphere if it's not true, but someone said, how is Roberta doing? I heard she had a stroke. Is that true?
I heard that as well. I haven't talked. I need to call New York and find out, but I can find that out. But
okay,
everybody's aging though, man. It's just like Mary just stepped up and got out of here, out of nowhere. We're like, wait a minute.
Chuck, don't say it to us. Don't say it. Don't say it. I know, Chuck. I thought the same thing because
we're not through. Come on.
Y'all in the chat. Do you understand? Chuck is. I never will forget when I was a little boy and my dad passed in December.
Yes.
And so I remember when I was a little boy and he would listen to the music that I was liking, but he loved Sam Cooke. And what's the guy who sang Amen? Amen. What's that group?
Curtis Mayfield, The Impressed.
Yes, he loved them.
Me too.
And so when Sam Cooke died, he loved Johnny Mathis.
Yeah, me too.
And so Johnny Mathis is still alive. But he says when they were aging, he was like, man, if they're old, man, I must be old. He would always say that to me, like, shoot, man, time is just passing. So when you see the people that you loved as a child and they're passing, you're like, wow, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's I mean, when I look at myself with this gray hair, this white hair, I'm so interested in putting some color on it because I feel like I'm 80.
Well, anyway, see, I know Chuck. Can you want to share your age, or you want to leave it alone?
Oh no, I'm fine. I'm 72 years old. I'll be 73 this October.
Well, see, black don't crack. I'm gonna say it live. And so you're taking good care of yourself. Did you know Bobby Womack? Did you know him, Chuck?
New York.
No, just ask this.
Yeah, because it's not a clique, but it's a group of people who hang out at the same places. Like when Phyllis Hyman first came on the scene, she was at Russ Brown's. Well, Russ Brown's was my hangout after the show each night, which was about 10:30. I would go on down to Russ Brown's, which is on the Upper West Side, and there was this tall girl singing, and I mean, she was not gonna. Wait a minute, who are you? Where you come from? And she was growing, baby. And next thing we know, what's that guy's name? Picked her up for Bet You By Golly, wow. And then Pharoah Sanders picked her up. John Lucien had her sing with him in Carnegie Hall. Well, we were there. Wow. We were there. So she became my friend. So when she was on Arista, and when I called her and said, guess who your new label mate is, baby? Well, she freaked out. She was like, what the hell? She didn't
hold her tongue, did she, Jeff?
No, she was real 100%. Trust me.
Wow.
She had a lot of sailor blood in her, if you can catch what I'm saying.
I understand. I feel you.
she could mix and match some words and make you go, whoa.
And
She's a
even,
real sister.
if I could go ahead and say it, even her suicide note just told it like it was.
Yeah.
I love you. You know who you are, but I'm tired.
Yeah.
So
I'm so sad about that girl.
wow.
And I have pictures of her. I started to pull some of my pictures and bring them, but I don't know if you can see these things on this thing. So
well, someone just said, "Damn, you look good, Chuck." See,
thank you.
People know.
Thank you.
Recognize.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so Chuck, after you did those wonderful 2 albums, did you not want to record anymore, or was the music changing?
No. Well, yeah, the music was changing and the business was changing, and I was kind of tired too. I understood what Phyllis was talking about because I went through a lot of changes with Clive Davis. Trust me.
Okay, Arista, Clive Davis.
Yeah.
So did you have to deal with him on a continual basis?
Yeah, I had on the first album I dealt with Larkin Arnold, who is the man with the golden ears. You know,
Okay.
Natalie Cole, Peebo Bryson, Frankie Beverly, and that group. And then Larkin left to go to CBS Records in New York City. And he said, "Do you want to come with me?" I said, "Well, you got Michael Jackson there. You have Marvin Gaye there. I'll fall through the cracks. I know I will."
Wow.
And he said, "Okay, well, you're probably going to end up being Clive's project." Well, I was. But when he moved away, Clive took over, and Larkin ended up signing Luther Vandross.
Oh, wow.
So Luther Vandross, and then Luther and I ran at each other, and Mary Wilson was my date at the Grammys.
Okay.
And Luther Vandross, when he saw Mary, he freaked out because he loved the Supremes.
Yes.
One of the Supreme groups. Those girls, and Dionne Warwick.
Yes. And Patti LaBelle. He loved the LaBelle group.
He bowed before that girl that night. But anyway, it was just what was I saying?
You were talking about why you left Arista because of Clive Davis.
Yeah. Well, Clive Davis took over, and then Clive introduced me to these songs, and I said, "With due respect, Mr. Davis, that's just not anything I can sing. I really don't want to sing that." And we had arguments about that, and I said, "Well,
Well, Chuck, were you still inclined to write your own music as you did with Sizzling Hot, that song?
No, after I wrote 5 of those songs on there.
Okay.
So, I didn't want to. Do You Believe is one of them.
Yeah.
I've Been Needing Love So Long. Don't Tell Me Sorry.
With Robert Vaught.
You. So
don't tell me you're sorry.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Clive, and Larkin gave me that room, and I was also a part of the publishing at Arista Records. So Billy Michelle was a great champion of mine. But when Clive took over, he wanted to just hover, and I said, well, that might work for like those girl singers like Melissa Etheridge was there, Dionne had come on, Aretha had come on, and I hung out with all of them. Dionne and I went to the Grammys together. So, I mean, it was cool, but I don't think he had much success with the men. He didn't have.
Okay, I see your point.
He did.
Interesting.
Because a man is not going to let you run a woman. You can push, and that's what they did to women
back in those days.
Yes, you can talk to Shaka Khan, Natalie Cole. Natalie didn't find her true freedom until she did her father's work and got all those Grammys. But that's the direction they want you to go. The record company wants you to sing this, and you're saying, "But yeah, that's not me. I don't want to sing that." So we had those arguments, and I said, "No."
It makes you think about how Whitney Houston's life, when she first started. I mean, it's just a beautiful, glorious, glamorous image, but really behind the scenes, she was like a hood. She was hood.
Newark, baby.
Yeah,
Newark, New Jersey.
Right. But you saw her like with the glamour and the glitz.
Oh,
wow.
That's an image, and that's the other thing that they do with the ladies, and they try to do that with us as well.
Yeah.
They and that's why you asked about my clothes. No, those were my clothes. I chose those clothes.
Well, Chuck, did you know Teddy Pendergrass at all?
I didn't know him, but I met him.
Okay.
And Stephanie Mills, who I have in there as well. She was a friend of mine from New York City.
Okay, because she was in the Wiz, everybody, of course.
And I was in the chorus line. We were right down the block from each other. So a lot of times all the black artists came together. We all knew who we were, and we all hung and the parties and, the little gatherings, and we were all on the set, So we all knew each other.
All right. So, man, so you got all these, you did the albums and you decided to kind of move away from the recording industry. And what happened after that, Chuck? What did
I
you
had gotten married. Is what the thing. I had gotten married, and I wanted to get out of LA. I wanted to go back to New York City, which is really my home.
Okay.
And my wife wanted to go too because she was born and raised in LA. And most people who were born in a certain city, they want to get out of it for some reason. So she was willing to go with me. And when we got there, I did another show with Ruth Brown called Sweet Saturday Night. And then I said, well, let me get a good job so that we can live nicely.
Right.
So that's what I did. And I ended up working at Sotheby's, which was the world's leading fine art auction house at the time. And I worked for the treasurer of the company, who was a black fellow. His name is Jerome Brantley. And he became like my brother. So we did a lot of great things at Sotheby's. And I told you that when they did events, I'm the guy who sang. So I had a band there. I'm always going to find some musicians and work out with them. And that's what I did. And when we came time to party at Sotheby's, Chuck Cissel was singing.
Wow.
So I still got to do my thing.
So you were still doing your gigs.
Yeah. I did other gigs as well. And so I still did that. It was a sideline job at that point, not my real job. But I had guys there because, I worked on Broadway with these musicians. So I could call them up and say, hey, Rudy, George, hey, who's a good drummer?
Right. Absolutely.
And, get together and go over some songs, and the band played some songs, and man, we had 2 or 3 sets.
That's awesome. Now, if you all don't know, Chuck was also a part of the fantastic, wonderful, amazing Oklahoma Jazz Hall of Fame. That was, there's a word I'm wanting to find, that was birthed, if you will, by your sister, correct?
Maxine Cissel Horner, Senator Maxine Cissel Horner, yes.
So his sister, yes. So how did you transition from that wonderful place and then you came to another new place in your life to be part of the Oklahoma Jazz Hall of Fame?
It was quite a transition, honestly, because when you come from New York City, you're coming from an energy that's unparalleled. And the people are go-getters and people are doers. And we're all saying, well, what do you do? What are you working on? Oh, great. Wait, well, I'd like to be a part. Can I do that with you? Here, it was a little more laid back. And so what I had to do, Travis, was create that sort of energy by creating the different shows, the Cole Porter shows, which you did, the Cole Porter. I'll never forget this thing called Love. You killed it.
Yeah.
Then,
I think I still have that DVD of that. My God.
Yeah, you killed it. And then, other shows, the Gershwin show, the Ellington show, the Broadway show.
Right.
The Ladies Who Lunch. I created all these shows to pull in talent from around. So I found talent in the city. If I heard you perform someplace, I would try to bring you in. So we created a nice little synergy of talented people, even like someone like little Annie Ellicott. She
Absolutely.
Never heard her sing before, and I had her sing. So, I mean.
I'm sorry, Chuck. We have a question here. Did you know Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards from Chic?
No, but I partied with them at Studio 54.
Oh, you. So you were part of Studio 54, Chuck?
I was all up in there.
Oh, my God. DJ Funk, what a great question. I never would have thought to ask that.
I was in there with Liza Minnelli, Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, Nile Rodgers. I mean, Mick Jagger, Bianca Jagger.
The big horse.
Gore Vidal. They were all in there. But there was an attitude to get into Studio 54. You had to walk up to that rope like, I belong in here.
I always say that if I wish that I was this age or between 35 and where I am now and be in the 70s. I would just be beside myself.
Oh, yeah. It was a great time. I have to be.
Chuck, my aunt says, Chuck, you have been around. Yes. Hey.
Listen,
Y'all don't know that.
more times than the newspaper boy.
Auntie, you are crazy, Aunt Rita. Okay, so this man, so he had to transition. He had to kind of tone it down, y'all.
Tone it down, but at the same time, bring a new energy here to the Hall of Fame because it was a one-note party, Juneteenth. That's all it was.
Okay.
So we had to develop programming. We had to do things for the youth. So we came up with the youth programs. I created the Jazz Hall of Fame dancers, the Jazz Hall of Fame singers, and we did lots of civic and political events throughout the city those first 2 or 3 years.
And if you all don't know, the Oklahoma Jazz Hall of Fame is located in the city of Tulsa, Oklahoma, everyone. And what year was it inducted? What year did it come into fruition?
1988.
1988.
Yeah.
Okay. People are laughing. They're loving what you're saying, Chuck. They're loving it.
It was a great, great vision that my sister had. And she also created with Donald Ross, who is the the Greenwood Cultural Center.
Right. So the Oklahoma Jazz Hall of Fame was originally embedded within the Greenwood Cultural Center.
Right.
But who had the vision to branch off and make it into this building that, well, it is now, or it was? I don't know if you want to get into that, but we can.
The person who had the vision is the person you're talking to.
Because it branched off, everyone. It left the Greenwood Cultural Center into its own building.
Mm-hmm. We had to have our own space because we were doing programming, and we had to share that with the Greenwood Cultural Center. And oftentimes, they had other events that they were trying to do. It was a conflict. So I said, no, we need our own building. We've got So I went on a search, and I found the Union Depot train station, networked with some people at Williams Companies who owned it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I got with the county commissioners and talked with them about it. And then we got into what is called the Vision 2025 project.
Yes.
The Oklahoma Jazz Hall of Fame was the only arts project in that project. There was no ballet, there was no opera, there was no operatic group, that little operatic group, only the Jazz Hall of Fame. And the Jazz Hall of Fame was the only Black group outside of Morton Hospital.
Wow.
That project.
Now, of course, jazz does not just, well, maybe you can speak more about the influence of jazz. Jazz is not just a Black art, but maybe it is. How would you describe jazz, Chuck?
Well, as in the case of all music, you have people who are singing R&B music today who are white people. And that's fine. And if you have the skill, the talent, go for it. It's the same thing with jazz musicians. Jazz musicians have never discriminated against white musicians because if you come to the table and you can play, baby. You in? Come on in, brother. Come on in.
Wow.
That's how it worked. Even in the early days, Louis Armstrong jazz was birthed in New Orleans, and then from there you had Jelly Roll Morton, and you had all of these great, great talents. What's that piano style called?
Boogie Woogie? No.
Stride piano.
Yeah.
That all the way right on through the singers, into Ella, into Sarah, into
Billy.
All of those people brought Miles Davis, Dizzy Gillespie. All of those people brought jazz to the forefront, and it is America's classical music.
Amen.
It is the music that we play here in America. It has some European influences, but it has a lot of African influences because that's what's in us. That's our DNA.
Amen. Y'all, he's talking now. You're taking a classical melody and then changing the rhythm of it.
Yeah.
To another level.
You're creating something new. And literally, you have never sang this thing called love the same way each time.
Yeah, it's different.
I can guarantee you that.
That's true. Yeah.
Because you have that flexibility, that creativity that's in your blood, which is in most of our blood. We do it differently each time. And that's what jazz is.
And I can say that my auntie Rita, she says, Tavis, this is a great talk. Love Chuck. So much good info. Look, We need more of this on YouTube. That's right, in the vinyl community. Yes,
Rita.
yes.
Yeah.
Because I remember, Chuck, for me, the influence of music came from the church and the spontaneity. I remember being 4 and 5 years old, sitting in the pews and hearing those older people lining out those songs like, guide me over, great Jehovah, feed me till I want no more, God. Oh, and they were singing. I was like weeping. And Mom was like, child, you feel the spirit? I said, I don't know what it is, but something, just the joy.
Yes.
The joy of that spontaneity, how these people knew how to blend and harmonize and have that rhythm without really knowing what they were doing theoretically.
It's the same thing that people did out in the fields, out in the cotton fields and in the fields of greens, whatever they were picking.
Right.
Communicated through singing and through wading the water. You know, they were passing words and notes and information to each other. And so when we sing, and when we grew up, that ancestry blood is still in our veins too. So that's a carryover.
Yeah.
And so even now, if you go to church now, you go to one of those good churches and they sing,
It's still there. Yeah.
It's right here, man. I got chills doing that.
Right.
So it's in here.
It's in there.
Yeah.
And it carries on into our lives and your records and into your endeavors. Yeah. So when you went to the Oklahoma Jazz Hall of Fame, were you excited to be a part of that new transformation in Tulsa?
Yes, because it afforded me a creative opportunity. Okay. And anything where one can express their creativity, and then you pull in great talent around you, and then you can sit back and go, sing, Tavis.
Yeah.
Play Rick Fortner. Y'all, are y'all listening? Y'all ain't listening. Somebody listening here?
We had some great times. Wow, I can't believe I'm this old. What is the time gone? Jesus.
Really, I'm telling you. And you all blessed these people.
Yeah.
You really don't know how much you bless people. And I go to the grocery store, or go wherever I go, people walk up and say, hey, aren't you the jazz man? Mm-hmm. And it's so funny. And they say, oh, I remember I came to that show and I saw you kick your leg. I was like, oh my God. I saw this one, or I saw that one.
Yeah.
Take me back, and I get in the car and sit there and little tears come down my face. I'm like, Lord, you're still blessing me and you still love me. I really appreciate it.
Well, yeah. And Chuck, you always had this, I remember there's a picture of you that when you promote the Jazz Hall of Fame, you have a microphone and you had your leg kicked up really high.
Yes.
So was that photoshopped, or was that really you kicking up your leg?
I kicked up my leg.
Awesome. Awesome.
60 years old, however old I was.
My auntie Rita says, have you retired?
Oh, yes. But I'm working on a production right now that I'm doing for the Centennial Celebration for Grace Massacre. Yeah, I'm working on that right. It's called All That Jazz and Blues on Greenwood. And we're actually going to film it as a DVD rather than perform it live, because very few places are available for where people can come in and sit next to each other that don't know each other because of the COVID virus.
So if you all don't know, well, there's so much background with this. The Greenwood Cultural Center is located in Tulsa, which is Greenwood. Tell us about, just if you could sum it up a little bit.
About Greenwood?
Yes. And the Greenwood the Tulsa Massacre?
Yes, Greenwood was known as the Black Wall Street in the 20s. It was a thriving, bustling community, prosperous. People had beautiful homes, beautiful furniture, beautiful clothes, children being educated. And one day there was an incident down at the court, at one of the downtown buildings, and there was a black guy who stepped on an elevator. There was a little white girl who was running the elevator, and it appeared that he bumped into her or stepped on her foot or something. And she's, oh my God, he want to hurt me. And he got out of there, and somebody heard it, and they came down to the courthouse. They were going to string this N-word up, and it wasn't what it was blown up to be. But what it boils down to is that there was a large amount of jealousy towards the Black community for being so successful.
In Greenwood, in that area.
Yes, there was jealousy and envy. So what happened? That turned into a fight. Black people brought their guns from World War One that they brought down there and said, "No, you're not gonna run over us anymore. We're through. We're not slaves. We're not gonna take it." And some white guy made an attempt to hurt a black guy, and the black guy shot him and killed him. So then that turned all of them on to, well, we're going to ruin your neighborhood. We're going to burn it down and kill all you ends. And
Wow.
that's what they did. Over 300 people were dead. And so now we're celebrating the 100th anniversary of 1921. May 31st and June 1st were the days of the massacre. Bombs were dropped and they burned all of Greenwood. So when I grew up, Tavis, I grew up on Greenwood.
Mm.
I never knew that there had been a riot. I had never knew there had been a massacre till I was 30 years old. And I was
Chuck,
in New York City. And a guy walked up to me and said, "Man, I'm so sorry about the riot in Tulsa." I was like, "Riot? Boy, what you
Wow.
talking about?" He said, "Yeah, Rod." I said, "Nah." I called him out and said, "Mama, was there a riot in Tulsa?" She said, "Yes, but we don't talk about it."
Oh, it was quiet.
And they never talked about it because they feared that they would come back and do it again. It's kind of like watching Donald Trump with the Republicans. They're afraid of him. You know, if he's out of his mind,
Oh,
that he will hurt them. He will try his best to hurt them.
who cares?
Share an interview with your sister. I met Dizzy as a boy. Whenever he came to Baltimore, he stayed with a friend who lived across the street. He started my love of jazz. You can't go wrong there, Moses.
Yes, he saw the interview that I put up with you and your sister.
Yeah.
Yes, that was when I heard of her passing, I just had to find that interview and put it
I'm
up.
so glad you did. I blessed my family with it. They
Wow.
had
Oh my heavens. I think I've lost the interview. We did the interview with me on that same night, but I've lost that. I don't know if you
Yeah.
have. I'd love to see that again.
Well, you know, my computer was hacked and they literally tore everything off of here.
Oh my heavens. A lot of people came out of
It was really cool because you had music up under it.
Yes. Yes.
It was
A
really
lot
good.
a lot of great talent came out of Tulsa considering the dark history of the past. That's true. Yeah.
Yes.
Tulsa has some great talent.
Great talent.
So
Always.
I don't want to keep you long. I know that you have your own life, Chuck, and we could talk to you all night.
Oh, but I'm blessed by this. I really am.
Okay, well, I'm glad. And people are really interested in hearing your story.
Mhm.
How is the Oklahoma Jazz Hall of Fame doing these days?
The Jazz Hall of Fame is in trouble because COVID has shut basically everything down, you know, all across the country. People have lost jobs,
Yeah.
businesses closed. Well, Jazz Hall of Fame is no different, but it has terrible management.
Okay.
I want to be clear about that. I hope you caught it.
Well, okay, let me stop. The words of my interviewee is not the it's not the feelings of the interviewer. Okay, go ahead, Chuck. Go ahead, talk, baby.
Yeah, this is my point of view.
Yeah.
Very bad management. And the guy who was running it was recently arrested for embezzlement and identity theft. He tried to steal someone's identity at the Bank of Oklahoma.
Wow.
What kind of brain cells do you not have?
Mm.
So anyway, they're kind of in trouble and they don't have any money to pay the bills. They don't have any sponsorship really.
Mm.
And it was a 501c3. They lost their nonprofit status
Oh my, Chuck.
by they didn't pay the IRS. I'm surprised that it's still open. I thought that they would shut it down. But they're trying to figure out a way to keep it going. Jason has stepped down. The guy who was the former director, he stepped down.
I didn't know that, Chuck. I didn't know that.
I don't know how true that is, but they found some guy who is a minister who is now running it, an African-American man. But then, you know, I get calls all the time about the Jazz Hall of Fame, and someone said that he too had been imprisoned for embezzlement.
Is he black or white?
Black. So, I mean, so, you know, y'all got out of the frying pan in the hot water.
Well, Chuck, maybe they need you back. Get out of retirement. Go on back.
It would be nice, but at this point, I have learned to relax and be quiet and still and praise the Lord. And, you know,
And say, hey, I'm still sizzling hot, regardless.
I will consult from a distance. I will
Mhm.
advise you, but I ain't going down there, okay, y'all? I ain't going.
But if you all heard Chuck from at the beginning, he still has that voice. Chuck, I don't want to keep you. It's 9:30. Man, we could talk all night.
No, I can't believe it. I was looking at the clock.
See, we're having fun. When I interviewed Shirley Jones, I told her from the get-go, I said, it's going to be 15, 30 minutes. Child, it was an hour.
Easy.
And I said, Shirley, I'm so sorry. She said, yeah, you promised me it was going to be an hour. 30 minutes. I said, we just started talking. She said, yeah, you're right, child. She was so fun to talk to. Did you know Shirley? Do you know Shirley Jones?
No, I met them at the Palace Theater in New York when Donna Ross played the Palace Theater.
Okay.
I went backstage and she wouldn't remember me from Adam.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're the second wonderful star that I've interviewed on my channel, and I have many more to go. Do you have anything you want to share with your audience out there? Because this is going to stay on my YouTube channel for the replay. So what would you say to upcoming artists these days? The music is totally different now.
The whole process is different.
Yeah.
It's totally different. But I'll say this, and especially to those who are young and who have the energy and the vitality, you must persevere. You must be strong in your belief. You must know how to walk by faith and not by sight. And I'm going to share a scripture with you that I tucked in my heart from my mother, and it's Mark 11:23. Whatsoever things ye desire when you pray, believe that you receive them.
Wow.
And ye shall have them.
Wow.
But you can't straddle the fence. You got to believe all the way. If you start teetering a little bit and teetering back, God is going to say, that's not faith.
Wow.
I can't work with you. And I have told people this time and time again. I can, I will, and I am.
All right.
Make that a mantra to yourself. Do whatever you want to do and work to be successful and follow your dreams. If God plants a dream in your heart, that's what he wants for you to follow through. And then do it. Work every day towards it.
I can, I will, and I am. And you all, I want to end with this. I know that I've shared this with you before, Chuck. My aunt says, amen. Great advice. Oh, my God. Diesel on hot. Yes, everybody. He's preaching to us.
Amen.
I never will forget you all when I was younger, I would keep quotes in a book. And when someone would say something to me, I would run back or drive back home and write that quote in the book and remember. And I was talking with Chuck one day, and I was having some issues or something. And we started talking, and you said something. It's like sometimes words can just penetrate. You're like, wow, I didn't know that you could say that. You said, Tavis, don't let anyone take your sparkle.
Yes.
And I never heard anything like that before. And I was like, wow. I came home and I put it in my quote book and I would just look at it. Don't let anyone dull your sparkle.
Yeah.
And even now at 48, when I feel that people are dulling me down or dumbing me down, if you will, I say, no, I got to move on. You're not for me. You're dulling my shine. That's not who I am. So I'd rather be by myself than to be with someone who's going to dull the spark and the shine in me.
You're absolutely correct. T.D. Jakes said, learn to let them go.
Amen. Yeah.
Have the spirit of letting go. Because some people in your life for a minute, for a season, some 2 weeks, some a week and a half, some for your whole life. Your whole life. Figure that out and let those negative branches go and hold on to those that understand who you are, who love you for who you are, and who accept your talent. And I had to learn that in New York because they tried to break my spirit when I first went to New York because I came from Oklahoma. And
I can imagine.
Because New Yorkers, they just cold-blooded. And when I went there, they would say, so where are you from? Oklahoma. You hear that? He's from Oklahoma. Y'all see that? The Cowboys? All of that kind of
grasshoppers and crickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how did you learn to dance? They got a ballet school there? You got a tap dance school there? I said, yeah. So what I had to do was figure out, when I go into this audition, I'm putting you in my mind to beat. And that's what I did, and I beat them. I got it. And then when I walked back by them, I would say, yes, that's Tulsa, Oklahoma.
With the capital T.
Yeah.
There you go, Chuck.
Trying to break my spirit. I was like, no.
Yes, DJ Funk. Thank you. Chuck, they said, thank you for all the great music. Someone said, love is missing from our lives.
That's what you need to play.
Is that a song?
Yes. Wait, Travis, let me give you just a little bit of it.
Is that what you wrote?
No, no, I didn't write that song. Where is Love is Missing from my here?
Is that from your second album?
That's the second album.
Wow. And my Aunt Rita says, don't let no one steal your praise. That's right, Auntie. That's right. We're gonna hear
yeah, just a little of it.
We were meant to be.
Chuck, was you?
Yes.
I didn't get that second album.
When you I really do believe it, but you can't see the forest. You're looking at the tree.
Yeah.
You don't even know.
Tears of joy. Someone has tears of joy, Chuck.
You're in love with me.
Everyone, in front of you is the fantastic Mr. Chuck Cissel. Thanks, Travis, for giving me the chance to meet a great man whose music I love and own, DJ Funk. You got it still, my auntie says. Well, everyone, we're going to end this, and I want to thank my friend Chuck for being with me today. I'm going to get that second record. I'm going to get it and showcase it.
Thank you, Chuck.
Chuck Cissel, give us an ending word, please. We'll end this broadcast.
I am, no.
Yes.
I can, I will, and I am. It's
I can.
Yourself. Whatever you're doing, I can do it. I am going to do it. I'm doing it. I
there
can,
you go.
I will, and I am.
Everyone, we're going to end it with that. I can, I will, and I am. I may write a song. Here we go.
You good, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chuck, everybody. Chuck, I love you. God bless you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Man. God bless you, Travis.
And this is going to be on YouTube forever.
All right.
All right. Everyone, Chuck Cissel, everybody. Take care. God bless.
God
Bye-bye.
bless you.